You can pay cash for a home in the Villages and still discover a separate infrastructure bond balance approaching $30,000 attached to the property. On a fixed income, that's not a footnote. That's your budget, rewritten. Here are 8 costs retirees don't expect in the Villages. Number 8. The water bill that never stops climbing. Water and sewer in the Villages don't come from one city utility. They come from a patchwork of small, special-purpose districts, names like the Little Sumter Service Area and the Wildwood Utility Dependent District. And which one bills you depends on which section of the community your home sits in. Those districts have been raising rates. Little Sumter went up 10.3% in 2024, another 7.9% in 2025, another 4.9% this year, with more modest increases already projected for the years ahead. 3 consecutive increases have pushed those charges meaningfully higher in only 3 years. Same house, same showers. Nothing changed but the bill. And here's why this trips up a prospective buyer specifically. There's no single utility to call for a quote. Your neighbor 2 villages over can be under a different district on a different rate schedule with a different history of increases. Each district sets its own rates for its own service area, so no one line item ever shows you the whole trend. Here's what I think matters most if you're budgeting a move. Today's utility bill isn't necessarily a fixed number you can carry through a 20-year retirement. And it's not the only bill in this town built to climb. Number 7. 2 houses, same price, very different bills. Say 2 friends each spend $400,000 on a home in the Villages. Same month, same community. One buys an older place up north, near the original neighborhoods. The other buys new construction south of State Road 44, where the developer is building right now. On paper, they paid the same. Their monthly reality can be hundreds of dollars apart. That's a made-up example, but the gap it describes is real, and the research puts numbers on it. The biggest single reason is a debt attached to each property. We'll open that up fully at number 1. For now, one comparison tells the story. On older homes, the typical remaining balance runs around $14,000. And on plenty of them, the previous owner paid it off entirely. In the newest sections, south of 44, balances commonly run $23,000 to $28,000. Then layer on district maintenance charges, which vary by district from the mid-hundreds to over $1,000 a year. And south of 44, the structure itself is different. Down there, the developer still owns certain amenity properties, and amenity fee money flows to them. That's not how it works in the older areas, which is the point. The Villages is one name on the map. Financially, it is not one place. Same community, same purchase price, very different bills. Number 6. The subscription you can't cancel. Every home comes with a monthly amenity fee. Right now, the prevailing rate for a new buyer is about $204 a month, and it pays for real things. The pools, the rec centers, executive golf, the neighborhood watch. Residents get genuine value out of it, and plenty of them will tell you it's the best part of living there. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But 2 details change the picture on a fixed income. First, it's written into the deed. You cannot opt out. Stop swimming, never touch a golf course again. The fee stays for as long as you own the home. Second, it's tied to the Consumer Price Index. So under the deed terms, when inflation rises, the fee can rise with it. At today's rate, that's roughly $2,450 a year. And over a 20 or 30-year retirement, a fee that adjusts upward and never turns off adds up to real money. Yes, Social Security adjusts for inflation too, but now you're running 2 escalators at once and hoping yours keeps pace. It's a fine deal if you use it, It's a mandatory one either way. Number 5. The cost of getting back out. I'll be honest, this section surprised me while I was checking it, because sales in the villages are actually up. In one recent stretch this summer, homes sold at a pace more than 50% higher than the year before. This is not a market where nothing moves. So here's the part that matters if you ever need to sell. The typical village's resale took around 75 days to go, and the median sale price came in around $355,000, down a little over 6% from a year earlier. Separately, across the surrounding county, roughly 3 in 10 listings took a price reduction before selling. And existing owners face an unusual source of competition on top of all that. The developer is still building. So a buyer touring your 15-year-old home that afternoon can also walk through brand new construction with new finishes and a warranty. That doesn't explain every price cut, but it does mean a resale seller is competing not only against other homeowners, but against fresh inventory. Most of us treat the house as the emergency fund, the thing you sell if you need memory care or need to get closer to the kids. That safety valve is still there. But selling may take longer, and the seller may have to be more flexible on price than they expected. Build the plan on the price a buyer will pay, not the price you hope for. Number 4. The tax bill that changes the day you buy. Quick question. When you look at a Florida listing online, do you scroll down to the tax history? Most buyers do. And in Florida, that number can be close to useless because it belongs to the seller, not to you. Florida has a rule called Save Our Homes. It caps how fast a homesteaded owner's assessed value can rise, no more than 3% a year, often less. Wonderful protection while you own, but when the home sells, the cap resets. The county resets the assessed value to current just value, which usually tracks much closer to what you just paid, starting the January after you close. So your bill gets built on your price, not theirs. Here's an example, and I want to be clear, it's an example, not a promise about any particular house. A seller bought long ago, and after years under that cap, their listing shows a tax bill around $2,000. You buy the home at today's price. After the reset, a bill built on your purchase price could land in the range of $5,000. The reset itself is guaranteed by law. How large the change is depends on the property, the seller's assessment history, and what you paid. One more wrinkle. If you carry a mortgage, your escrow was set using the old bill. So year 2 can bring a bigger monthly payment and a catch-up check at the same time. Budget off your price, never theirs. Number 3. The health system built for the dream. This one touches the thing retirees guard most carefully: Medicare. The Villages built its own healthcare network, the Villages Health. Primary care clinics designed for this community, close by, easy to reach, doctors with smaller patient loads. For a lot of residents, it became the front door to all their care. Then, back in 2016, those clinics made a business decision. They stopped accepting original Medicare and Medigap for primary care. And let me be precise here, because it matters. Nobody is required to join a Medicare Advantage plan to live in the Villages. Original Medicare works fine at plenty of other doctors in the area. But if you wanted your care inside that convenient, purpose-built network, you had to pick from the Medicare Advantage plans it accepted. And Advantage plans come with networks and approval rules that Original Medicare doesn't have. That's the trade a lot of residents made, often without realizing it was a trade. Then, in July of 2025, the Villages Health filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The company had disclosed problems with how patient diagnoses were coded, coding that pushed the payments coming in from Medicare Advantage plans higher than they should have been. In the bankruptcy, court documents recognize an allowed claim in favor of the United States government of just over $538 million. The clinics were sold to Centerwell, a primary care arm of the insurance company Humana. So the residents who traded original Medicare for access to those clinics now depend on which plans a corporate owner accepts and which agreements get signed year to year. For most people, care continues. The doors are open, but the promise changed hands. Decide about your Medicare coverage the way you'd decide about the house, slowly, in writing, knowing exactly what you're trading for convenience. Because coverage isn't something you fix later with a bigger check. The last two items on this list, though, those come straight down to checks, and they arrive on the same piece of paper. Number 2. The other half of the tax bill. Sumter County's actual property tax rate is genuinely low, one of the lowest in Florida. Then, the bill arrives in November, and it's a lot bigger than the rate promised. There's a real 2025 tax bill from a home in the Villages in our research, and honestly, it took me a minute to figure out what I was looking at. Picture it. Top section, the actual property taxes, the part based on your home's value, the part the low rate applies to. About $2,600. Fair enough. Then keep reading. Below it sits a second section labeled Non-Ad Valorem Assessments. Plain English, charges that have nothing to do with what your home is worth. On this bill, more than $4,300. The add-ons were bigger than the taxes themselves, the larger half of the bill. So what's actually in there? Several distinct charges. District maintenance, the mowing, the landscaping, the streetlights, the storm ponds, the everyday upkeep of the community around you. A fire district fee, and on many homes, a bond debt assessment. And I want to be careful here, because that bond line is the very cost we're about to separate out at number 1. Part of that $4,300 can be the bond payment. We are not counting the same dollar twice. The point of this item is everything else in the stack. Even when the bond itself is eventually paid off, the recurring maintenance and service assessments remain. These are flat charges. They don't fall under any tax cap because legally they aren't taxes on value, they're assessments for services. And they ride the county tax bill collected by the tax collector. Total on that real bill, nearly $7,000 on a home whose low tax rate suggested less than half that. Now, every bill is different, and the mix of those lines varies from district to district and home to home. But one of those lines deserves its own spot on this countdown, because it isn't maintenance at all. It's a debt. Number 1. The infrastructure bond that survives a cash purchase. When the developer builds a new section of the Villages, the roads, water lines, and storm drains are financed through the local community development district, which borrows the money by issuing municipal bonds. That debt is then divided, parcel by parcel, and each home is assessed its share. Not the owner, the land. It's called the infrastructure bond. It pays down over roughly 30 years with interest, and it stays attached to the property. It is completely separate from any mortgage, which is exactly why it catches cash buyers. Picture the buyer from the top of this video. Sells up north, arrives in Florida with cash, pays for the house outright. No bank, no mortgage. As debt-free as an American homeowner can be, they think. Then the first tax bill lands, and there's a bond line on it. Because in the newest section south of 44, the remaining balance can approach $30,000. In older neighborhoods, it's often smaller, or a previous owner already retired it. On new construction, you're at the top of the schedule. Now, the practical questions. How do you know if a home still carries a balance? You ask. The district office can produce a payoff schedule for any specific parcel showing exactly what's left. On the tax bill, it shows up as its own annual line, the bond debt assessment, sitting in that stack from number 2. When the home sells, whatever balance remains can transfer with the property to the next owner. And you can pay it off. One 5-figure check to the district, and that annual line disappears. It's legal. It's disclosed, if you know which document to ask for. But there's one last distinction, and it's where people get caught twice. Pay off the bond, and the bond payment disappears. The maintenance assessment doesn't. So where does that leave the dream? Still standing. The Villages keeps growing because it delivers something real. And for retirees who walk in knowing all 8 of these, it can still be exactly the right call. The listing price just isn't the price. Before you sign anywhere built like this, do 2 things. Get the bond payoff schedule and the full prior year tax bill for that exact parcel. And ask the county appraiser for a tax estimate at your purchase price. Have you lived any of this? A bill in the Villages or somewhere like it that you never saw coming? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one. And if this helped, hit subscribe right under this video. One tap and you're done. This is EconoNova. Keep an eye on the price of milk.